All right, hello. We're going to take a look at your guys' skeletons and mesh in preparation for next week's or this week's assignment. I just want to point out first that I put this rigging 3D character checklist PDF both in Discord chat and in your examples and resources folder because it carries with it all of the basic workflow and advice for each phase of modeling a full humanoid or creature. It might come in handy. We're not really through all of these steps yet, but I just wanted to make you guys aware that this exists, and it talks about in detail all of the different things that you might do. The one thing I think it doesn't cover is the expressions editor. I don't think I ever talked about that in here, but we got the video for that. So just wanted to make you guys aware. This week we've got control surfaces and all of the function of the rig. It is a long one, so start early. Don't put it off because there's many steps. The very first step is really easy, where we just make all the NURBS controllers. And then there are 5 or 6 more after that. I did detail them out in here, talked about each section, gave an alternative for one step. But yeah, the video's up so you guys can check all that stuff out. Let's go ahead and get into the homework. So starting with Devin, taking a look at his rig. I already looked at the geometry real fast just to make sure everything was working properly. Outliner looks good. Skeleton basically looks good as far as just a glance, but then to quickly just look through each one of the joints. Usually I don't have to select it to check because I can just see that little icon that shows us how they're going to rotate. But I can check the left and right function a little bit. So both go up, then we're good. And if both of them go forward, yeah, we're good. Okay. So it looks pretty good. I think everything's lining up properly. The thumb is another one that I want to make sure that that works properly. They all look named from a glance over in the outliner. So I think you're good to go. I don't see anything that is indicating to me that this is going to break. The straightness of the limbs is another one. If your limbs are not perfectly straight, so I look in the front view for both of them, then you can have trouble. And if you didn't bend your knee or bend your elbow, then we can have trouble. This one, it's bent enough. It's very straight, but it's bent enough, and I can see that. So this is going to work. All right, very good. So I'm just going to go on down the line and check each one. And we'll see if we come up with any errors. It's possible that we won't, which would be good news, but would mean the video is very dull. All right, so we got all of the geometry. Okay, so it didn't include the belt and loops. I don't think I did either. I actually don't remember. Do you guys remember if I included them?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, that's fine. It's just a second thing to skin then. I may have included the arms. No, I don't think I did. Yeah, this seems right. All right, let's check out the skeleton. Okay. Take a quick look. It looks like the normals are flipped in the collar, but to be honest, that doesn't really matter. It's just going to look weird in Maya. Okay. Let's check the collarbones. Both rotate up, and these should both rotate forward. Good. The arms are bent. Yep, they are. And the thumb. Okay, so the thumb is not oriented correctly, Kayla. So you have to go back and do that one. It needs to be oriented basically like this way so that it will bend along the joint properly. Let me check if you got the other one. So it's either they're both wrong. Yeah, they're both wrong. So this one has been globally oriented. I think there was a step you may have missed where I was orienting the wrist and then had to unparent this one so that it kept its orientation going the proper way. Go back and watch because that's the only part you're going to have to fix. Knuckles are just a little bit high. I would keep them more center mass on the finger meat in the future, but this will work. Like, it's not wrong. It's just not the ideal placement. And then let's check the legs. Okay. Yep, that looks fine. And the feet. Cool. Okay, so everything else, just the thumbs. This wouldn't stop you from animating this character, but it does mean that when we do our set-driven key, check, yeah, actually none of them, like none of the joints. So it would make it very hard to animate this thumb correctly, but it wouldn't make it impossible. So you definitely should go back and fix that thumb. All right, thank you. Jesse. Oh, I'm getting a lot of warning messages. Okay, it turned out okay, but I got a whole bunch of messages when it first popped up. Um, so it looks like you've got no perspective view somehow. You may have changed this one to left and just never changed it back again. So if you come up to panels perspective, then you can come back to this full 3D view. Just make sure that you're able to do that. Geometry looks correct. Checking for no transforms and that everything is here. And then let's check out the root. Okay. Good. Check left and right for the collarbones. Yep. And they're both going forward. Good. Bent enough. Great. And let's check the thumb. No. Okay, so you got to orient your thumb as well. I don't remember at what point in the video. I know that it was wrong for me in the video at one point, and then I go back and correct it. But I don't remember what point it is. You're going to have to go back and check. This one's closer. Actually, this one's almost correct, but just a little bit further. If you look at the thumb geometry, you can see that it's kind of a square. We want to be facing right along this face. So something like that for the first joint is just about correct. Okay, so you definitely have to reorient that one. And then your feet look just fine. And legs. Okay, everything else looks good. So just the thumbs. Thank you. Yang. Hello, Yang.
Hello there.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just woke up.
Okay. You guys, you rise so late. Okay, cool. Geometry looks good. Check the bones. Global orientation for the root. Very good. Good, good. Head looks fine. Let's check the clavicles. Yep. And the elbows. Good. Arm bend looks fine. Forearm looks straight. Check the thumb. No. The thumb isn't working. Oh, okay. So I think you did try to do it correctly, but you missed this part, right? So it is,
Um,
right? You've got it 45 degrees over. You've got it down, but you don't have it that way. So it has to be oriented right here. Now, one thing you could do is just leave it rotated like this by default. It's kind of a bad solution, really. What we should do is do it properly. But this wouldn't like ruin the entire model or anything, especially since controllers are going to be the things that move the joints. So as long as the controller was zeroed, this would be an appropriate solution if you had to like do a kludgy kind of fix. But better to go back and get the orientation just right. So the reason is because the flat face, the top face of the knuckle, is over here. So yeah, you've almost got it. You just have to rotate it like that, and then you're good. And the legs as well. Great. And everything else looks good. I think you're ready to go. Any questions, Yang?
no, not so far.
All right. Very good. Let me see if I can fix this real fast. I forget my own steps over and over and over again. I believe that it was just unparenting it and freezing its transformations. No, it was orienting it. I forget which one it was. Help me out here. You guys watch the same thing, and I'm stupid.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Orient, and then you use the freeze transformations to uh, get the children to point the same way.
Get the children to point. So they already are. Like I can
Yeah.
see. they're all pointing correctly. The only thing that is not is the 0 right here. So if I right now freeze transformations, even with option box, you can see joint orient is selected. I hit apply, they all go globally, which is incorrect. So if I turn off joint orient and apply, that's the one. There we go. Right? So now the
So you
rotate
just-
is 0.
Oh, okay.
So you just turn off joint orient and use freeze transformations.
So was it the same tool that made the tips point right? Because they always go crooked.
Well, those ones, that was in the...
Oh, was that the orient one?
I believe so. Where's the... Oh, there it is. I was like, where's the stupid menu? I always forget because the tips don't really matter. Like, the only reason you orient those is because you're very picky. Like, sometimes they do.
This, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I'm just going to reset all the tools and hit apply, like, it doesn't do anything to the tip. So it won't reset it, it won't change it, it won't anything. For that, I think you do have to use the exact same method that I just showed, which is to rotate it and then freeze transformations. Or you can give it a child, and then this will work, and then delete the child. That's another way that I've done in the past.
I think it was the joint orient then for the tips.
This one or freeze transformations?
Oh, sorry, in the freeze transformations one.
Yeah, it probably is this one. So if I apply this right now, it does nothing. If I turn this on, yeah, it goes to the global setting, which should be incorrect. Oh no, wait, now it does match.
Yeah, because it just matches its parent, right?
I thought it matched before, I just didn't notice. Yeah, it matches its parent. So that is correct for the tip, but turn it off for this weird 45-degree angle thing. Yeah. So there we go. At least one example of fixing it. Cool. Yang, you were good?
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna fix it right now.
Very good. If you guys can't tell, I have kind of a bad memory for this stuff, and so I just know what the possibilities are and quickly pop through them. And then I remember it for about a day. And then it goes away again, and I have to remind myself.
Yeah, that sounds like something that even I would do.
All right, Miguel.
Like how I got through high school
Mhm.
was simply by memorizing everything I'm supposed to learn for the tests, and then I would immediately forget after the test was done.
I think that is a tragically common thing. That's how it happens in most, basic education. Is that's exactly right? That nobody remembers anything.
Yeah, sadly it happened to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never learn. I only memorize, only to forget.
I did it the other way. I learn and get interested, and so that means all the minutiae I forget, but all the important things I remember, like the big concepts, which is not always great for test taking, but it's good for life. And it made me a lot happier to do that. All right, let's see the thumb for you. Yep, you got it. I think it looks like it's a little bit off to the right-hand side when I look down the thumb, but it's probably not going to result in anything bad happening. I think it'll work.
It does look weird, huh?
It looks,
Didn't notice.
yeah, it looks just a little misaligned, basically. Like it should just kind of be over here and a little bit more rotated or something. Possibly like that. Oh no, it's perfectly straight. Okay. So yeah, just something a little bit more like this, but the placement that you had it in, I think, would work. It can be very picky. All right, let's see the legs. Ooh, your legs, I think, are too straight. I'm pretty sure the IK is going to misbehave. Let's try it, though. So I'm going to just go ahead and put a handle on. Let me make sure it's a rotate plane solver. Hip, ankle. And so what I'm looking for is when I move this handle, it's all the way down here, does the knee, yeah. So the knee isn't bending forward, it's bending way off to this side. So on this other leg, let me show you the fix. So insert, and we're going to slide the knee forward just appreciably so that we can now see a pretty clear bend. Since this one, I think you inserted joint from ankle to hip on this view, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so this looks straight to me. So this should be the strongest bend. Now, when we insert the IK handle, create IK, when I move it, it should bend forward. Yeah. So that's the difference. Whatever the largest bend is, it will presume that that's the default forward position, and we want it to be forward for the knees and backward for the elbows. So I'm a little worried about the elbows. No, that looks like that'll work. Looks big enough. When you put the IK handles on, if it doesn't work, then the solution is going to be increasing this angle. Since you've got more bones over here, just move the shoulder forward instead. That'll be a better solution.
Okay, and I can just move them, and that's all, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, let me actually undo back and remind myself. So here's before I put the IK on. Yeah, the transforms are still all zeroed. Yes. And the orientation is still correct. Yes. Yeah, so that's all you got to do is just insert and move the joint forward.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. Everything else looks good. Gunter. All right. Geometry. Looks good. Okay. And bones. Correct. Okay. The collarbones. Let's make sure they both, yep, they both go up. And the arms both go forward. Right. Take a look at the angle. Yep, that angle is perfectly fine. You might have gone a little further than you needed to with the shoulder, but the angle is going to work, so it should be okay. Let's check the thumb. That looks right to me. All the fingers. Okay. Legs. I think that'll be just enough. Yep, and the feet look fine. Good. Do you have any problems, Gunter, that you wanted to talk about?
Followed step by step.
Perfect. So the only thing then, based on your anecdote about high school, is can you do it when you don't have step by step?
That's the problem.
Right. Well, that means, so what you do, what I always used to do is like if I had to follow step by step because I couldn't comprehend any other way, I did that, got a success, then intentionally on my own tried to do the whole thing over again with no instructions. And if I got stuck or lost, then stop right there, go look at the instructions, remind myself, close them again, and try to keep going. That's a really great way to drill yourself to actually learn rather than just memorize temporarily. Huh? Very good. Elias. I'm getting a bunch of errors for that one. I think maybe some of you guys don't have Maya 2020. Wait, am I on 2021?
I don't think there is a 2021, actually.
Yeah. No, there was. I saw it available on the site, but I got 2020. I think some of you guys might have a different version of Maya because I'm getting more errors when I'm opening some of them. What's up?
That's weird. It didn't offer 2021 to me when I went to a update.
I saw it listed, but I didn't try. Like, I didn't look into it. So, I mean, I could be wrong. So, Elias, you've got, I think, referencing artifacts in here where you reference this into the scene and then imported it. And the names are really long. So, you got proletariat guy model. Now, that's not necessarily going to stop you from being successful, but the more times you do that, eventually the name gets long enough that it messes up everything that you want to do. Whenever you have to write an expression, it's a really prohibitive thing to do. Whenever you're looking in an editor, you get this really long name that you can't read properly. Just be careful about that. Also, you got a couple extra cameras in here. Not really important, but I just delete them if I were you. All right. Geometry looks good. Looks like if you're wondering about these handles that are visible, that's the toggle on the orientation. I think you hit the button and left it on. So we probably want to turn that off again. Also, the size of the joints you maybe didn't change. You can, well, we can grab all of them and change them. Or we can go up to, I think it's display animation joint size. And then just turn this up a bit so that we can properly see them. Let's get rid of those handles though, because they're a little annoying. Skeleton orient joint option box, and then hit this toggle. and it should turn them on. Why didn't it turn them off? Oh, I have to specifically grab. Okay, I have to specifically grab the joints that are doing that. So like this one, toggle. This one, toggle. No? Uh-oh, we might have two. Oh, you do. So you actually have two of these joints right here. You have to delete one of them. So here's what I would do. Unparent one of the hips, so Shift P. Then grab the other one, grab the joint and move it to see if it's the wrong one or the right one. So this is the wrong one, so that's great. I can just hit delete. This one is the right one. Okay, we've only got one left. Now you can reparent. So child, parent, E. Okay, so they should both move together like that. Now I can toggle it off. So be careful about that. You had one extra joint in there. You had technically two legs starting from the root, so the next controller wouldn't have worked correctly. And then finally this one over here. Just grab that. There. All right. Let's check orientation of things. Grab the whole rig there. Okay, looks, uh-oh. So you've got some inconsistency here also. Let's see. All right, that's the right number of joints, but I can see the little handle, red is facing up, green is facing forward. Green is facing up, red is facing sideways. So they're not oriented correctly. They both need to match. So your root down here is blue forward, green up. So we want all these to be blue forward, green up. You may have just not selected this one. So let's do skeleton, orient joint. Definitely do not orient children because this one's got huge amounts of children. And we want blue forward, green up. So green is Y, X, Y, Z. Blue forward counts as its up vector. So it should just be this. Let's hit apply. Yeah, so now that's consistent, and it should not have changed any of the children. Let's hope. Let's see if the left and right mirrors properly. It does. Good. And the elbows. Good. Okay, so the mirroring worked properly. You just had one misaligned one right there in the chest. Grab the root again so they all highlight. Okay. Yes, those are consistent. It's good. The eyeballs. Okay, good. Taking a close-up look at these now just to make sure. Bend in the elbow is just enough. And let's check the thumb. Yep, thumb looks good. You make sure the fingers are all doing the same thing. They are. Okay. And then let's check the legs. Yep, that's a good amount of bend in the leg. And then just to make absolutely sure, yeah, they both go forward and they should both go in and out. Cool. Which is the opposite of what was going on up there. All right, so everything else should be good. Just the one little joint orient there in the spine and the double joint in the pelvis. I don't know which one I deleted. If the other one was unnamed, then that would kind of solve the mystery too. But if you just hit delete, you'll delete the whole leg. So make sure that you unparent it first. Cool. All right. Thank you, Elias. Noah. Okay. Cool. I think now all the joints are big because I was changing it for Elias. So let me change it back. I think I was at 3. There we go. That looks normal. All right. Take a look at the geometry first. Eyes, head, belt, shoes, arms, hair, teeth. Good. Okay. And the skeleton. Good, good, good. Let's check the clavicles. Yes. And the elbows. Good. Take a look at the bend in the arm. Yep, that's more than enough. You don't have to go quite that far. This is almost heading out of the shoulder at this point, so you could slide that back just a little bit. And again, it's just insert to move it backward. I've got apparently this set on the local translates, which is even better because it won't It won't move off axis at all, but you don't have to move it. I'm just saying. Let's check the fingers. Okay, so the orient of the thumb is not correct. Remember, it's got to come along the top face of this square. Bit of geometry. Can I grab the geometry? So it's got to come along this top face right here. So that would be more like this. And there, kind of like that. Okay, so go ahead and fix that the same way that I showed Yang earlier. Okay, good amount of bend in the leg. Position looks good for the foot joints. And then let me just check, because now I'm paranoid about this bone, but it looks fine. And I should be able to check this way as well, just to make sure there's not two separate roots down here, that this goes to hip 1, that goes to hip 2, or hip L and R. And all the naming looks good. All right, very good. Thank you. Paul. Here we go. All right, let's take a look at the geometry. Looks fine. Okay, and the bones. Good. Uh-oh, okay, so you've got a double one here as well. I can tell just looking at it. So if we go spine, 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 and you see that one didn't move, spine. So you've got one more spine than I did, which is actually fine, because this is more like a normal number. But you've actually got another one, like 2 more spines instead of just 1 more. So right here, one of these 2 has to be eliminated. So let's unparent this one, so Shift P, and then grab this one, delete it, and then reparent P. And so that should solve it. So here we've got root, spine, spine. Okay, this one actually isn't oriented correctly, so it might have been the other one that you wanted to keep. Let me undo. Spine 2 looks correct. Okay, so keep spine 2, delete spine 3, but that means that you want to unparent this one. Shift P, spine 3, and then reparent like that. Oh, and this one is not oriented correctly either, probably because it was a child of the wrong one. So we want, again, Z to be going forward, Y to go up, and that ends up being primary of Y, secondary of Z, and don't orient children. So select this one, hit apply. If it doesn't work, and it looks like it did work, but it's pointing backwards. So let me check that. When I rotate this one forward, I get positive X. When I rotate this one forward, I get negative X. So it is these settings, Y and Z, but we changed this one to negative. So now hit apply. And so rotate forward, positive X, rotate forward, positive X. There we go. So now it's consistent. The neck, it doesn't really need to be the same, but right now it's negative. So you might want to go back and reorient the neck and the skull joints also to match, just because if you were bending the entire body, then that would make sense. But they don't really have to be consistent with the chest. They just have to be consistent to each other. But I would recommend it. Okay. So let's check. You are missing 2 bones here. So this is going to be the clavicle, this bone right here. But notice when I click, what it selects is the center joint. That's because that's how joints work. You're always selecting a joint, not a bone. And we need to be able to shrug the shoulders, so right now you can't. You need to insert another bone right here and then move it maybe slightly down in order to facilitate the shrugging of the shoulders. So we can do skeleton insert joint, drag. Oh boy. I don't know if we can do this because it's all, yeah, it's all connected. So what am I going to do? Well, if I unparented the other two, I could insert a bone and then reparent them. So let's unparent this one. I'm going to unparent the other arm. Now I can insert a joint in the correct direction. So insert joint, click and drag. So that's going to be my clavicle. Enter. Now I can reparent this one. And really you should mirror this. So don't keep this arm, delete this arm and mirror it. But now we could reparent the neck to this. Like that. This one, it could just stay there. That's not really a big deal, but I usually move it down just a little bit so that I have a smaller range of motion up and a little bit larger downward. And then you have to orient the joint as well. So yeah, you're missing this one. This would be the shoulder joint. Let me see what you named this. So although this is located in the shoulder, this is the bone for the upper arm. So this is the bone for the elbow. This is the bone for the upper arm. This is the bone for the clavicle. And then this one is spine. Okay, so take a look back at that section of the video to correct that part because you definitely need those bones. Okay, let's check the thumb. The thumb orientation is incorrect like a couple of the others have been. Although you're close, you're kind of on edge right now. You got to rotate this over like this. About here to where when you can look through the thumb, you're kind of seeing straight down through the boxy part of the thumb. It's a little bit misaligned from the first joint to the second, but I don't think it's going to stop the rig from functioning right. Make sure you've only got one pelvis. Yep. Okay. And the knees are bending backward correctly, and the feet look fine. It's all aligned. Okay. So yeah, everything else should be fine. Mostly just that center chest thing. You're going to have to remirror the left and right sides, and then correct the thumb. All right. Thank you, Paul. Andrew. Okay. Let's take a look at the geometry. Oh, that was just an optical illusion. I thought his belt was floating off into space there. Good. Okay, all of that. Look, oh, you got scales that are unresolved on the body. Yeah, so be sure to zero these scales out. That could cause problems, so just freeze transformations. That's all you got to do. Let's grab all of the bones, take a look at those. For some reason your root bone is very small. I don't know why, but it's not really an issue, just strange. Okay, that looks consistent. That looks consistent. Okay, let's try the clavicles. They should both be able to go up. Okay, yep. And they should both be able to bend forward. Uh-oh, you might not have enough bend in your arms. Okay, they both go the correct direction, but I would recommend taking both of these and sliding them forward like this so that there's more bend in your elbows. Just check. Okay, so that's all zeroed still. That's all zeroed still. Yeah, so just grab both of them, hit insert, move them both together. If you can do it on their local vector, it's weird. So I'm not moving globally forward, am I? Oh, I guess I am. I thought it was an optical illusion. I thought my controller was set to move on object forward, but it's not. So, I was just imagining things. But anyway, just move them both forward a little bit to increase this angle right here. You should be good. Let's take a look at the thumb. Yes. You have one too few thumb joints, though. So this one, for the overall thumb, is good. This one is fine, but you're missing the one for right here. There's another joint right there. So insert joint right in the middle and then name them. Let me make sure the rest are good. Yes. 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 Okay, the rest of them are fine.
I'll be right back and you go to the men's room.
Sure. You're just missing that one joint there. Okay. Might want to increase the angle on the legs as well. I think you have just enough for it to bend for. Whoa. This other leg is like exiting the leg. I don't know what's going on there. You got to remirror this, I think. Ah. You've got something weird happening inside these bones. I think you've got maybe too many. Yeah, you got too many leg joints. Okay, so I would just delete that leg entirely. Come over here. Looks like this one is the interloper. So let's unparent the knee and then delete that joint. Then reparent the knee to the hip. Cool. Let me check the orientation. Okay, that's all correct. And now remirror it. As long as everything is good. I'm actually going to move it just a little back first. There we go. Just to have a little bit more angle. And so now we'll go for skeleton mirror, and we're going across the ZY plane or YZ plane. And I want it to be, is it orientation, I think? Well, let's find out. I always forget. Yeah, orientation. No, it was behavior. Behavior. Okay, that way they both go forward back, but when they go out and in, or am I wrong? Oh no, I'm wrong. It was correct the first time. Orientation. Sorry. Boom. There we go. So we're supposed to be looking for forward to backward, yes. Left and right, they go together because we want the feet to go left and right together. That's it. So it should be orientation for the legs. Again, not a game-changing thing. It's just a little bit more convenient to do it that way. All right. And at that point, we should be all set. Didn't actually take a close look at the head. Maybe I should. Oh, you got another double, maybe even triple for the neck here. Yeah, okay. So for the neck, I can see that there is this joint, which shouldn't be in there. So let's unparent the neck, delete that joint. Where'd it go? Now that's the neck. That one. Yeah, as long as it's the end of a chain, you can delete. And then we reparent to here. Okay. Yeah, be really careful about that. That can really mess up your animation or your rigging. All right, now it should be fine. All right. Thank you, Andrew. And last, Isaac. Okay. Let's check the geometry. Okay. I can see right away that you probably have undeleted history because we've got all of these little leaf level transform nodes here. So yeah, there's something going on. Let's just, for the entire group, what if I delete history? Solve that? No. I'm going to turn off the bones layer. Drag select. Oh, now drag select. And now do edit delete by type history. Huh.
I'm back.
Hello. They're all in these little leaf level transform nodes, and they shouldn't be. Maybe it's freeze transformations is the one I'm supposed to do. So let me try that. Modify freeze transformations. No. Why are they doing that? Okay, well, we can just unparent them all. Shift B. Just like that. Each and every one. No, they're bringing it with them. They're bringing their leaf level transforms with them. Why are they doing this? Oh. They're not giving any new transforms when I'm doing this. Why? Why are you doing this? I have no idea. I don't know why that's coming through. Maybe there's some display setting that we're showing, like, is it that shapes? Okay, maybe you had like shapes set to display, and so it was treating that as an extra layer. That was really weird. I'm just going to middle mouse drag this to the geometry group. Make sure that everything's still frozen. Yeah, it's actually fine. I think maybe it was just this display of shapes that was messing me up. I don't know. Let's take a look at the skeleton anyway. It's the more important part. Set that back to render, back to visible. Okay, that looks good. Good. Let's get the clavicles. Yep. Okay. Elbows. Good. Checking the head. Okay. And let's look at the arm. Arm bend is fine. Thumb, not fine. Okay, the thumb is definitely like 45 off. Gotta be like that. Lots of people did that. I don't know why lots of people did it the exact same way. Maybe I demonstrated something in a confusing way, but I'm seeing over and over almost everybody didn't rotate that far enough. Okay, let's make sure you got one pelvis instead of two. Good. The legs should both bend forward. Okay, they're mirroring. I think that, back. I think you didn't do the correct kind of mirroring. No, you did. Yeah, the feet at least. Well, the feet are the only part that matters, so I guess it doesn't matter if the legs are doing it backwards. There is some weird thing on your geometry, though, right here. I think maybe you flipped some normals inadvertently. I would just, let's try that. I'm going to grab these two, go to the modeling menu, and what are we doing? Mesh display, conform. No. Mesh display reverse. Nope. I don't know why they look like that. Let's see.
Is there a hard edge thrown in there? Or
Yeah.
maybe the normal just reversing the edge in the middle?
Maybe that's it. Just this one. Let's try it.
The black is like coming out of it.
Soften edges. I'm going to grab all those edges and soften them. Soften. Why do you look like
yeah,
that?
that edge. It's that center edge that has the normals messed up, right?
That's bizarre. Maybe there's another face that we're not seeing now. Huh. Wow, that's strange. I don't think you can reverse normals on an edge, though. Can you? I guess you can?
You can, but that wasn't it somehow.
No, here's what I would probably do. Let's just cut a hole in there. And then this, well, it still looks weird. And I was just going to fill that hole back in. Let's go back. I'm going to go back a few to the problem he actually had. Okay, let's try this again. If I grab this whole area. Okay, yeah. Let's do... First, I would think conform would be the first solution. You can set normal to face to kind of like reset everything. So set to face kind of makes it look like a disco ball, right? Where you've got like all of the hard edges everywhere. And now I'll just grab everything and say smooth, like soften edges. Okay, that did it for some reason. All right. Oh, and I missed one or two over here because I made such a big selection, but just grab the appropriate edges, or really just all of the edges in that region of the leg, because they all need to be smooth. I'm going to just turn off the bones layer to make this easier. Just grab that whole region, and let's just soften. Whoop, I went in the wrong menu. Soften edges. So set the normals to face first, and then it should be fine. So that was just right here. Yeah, weird. I think maybe I messed up a little bit of the belt when I did that, so just be a little bit more cautious than I was. I just saw that weird rendering error and didn't want you to have to deal with that going forward. Okay. Let's change that back to render, and then just make sure, yeah, the legs were fine, and the feet are fine. All right, I think everything else is good. Some weird model error that just kind of crept in. And that should be everyone. Yep, That is the whole list. So very minor little errors. Make sure that you guys correct them before you move forward with the next assignment, though, because there's kind of no going back once you do a bunch of work. Mesh-related things at this point are going to be easy to fix because we're not hooking up the mesh to the skeleton. Once we do skinning, then it's virtually impossible, and you've got to redo all that work if anything is left. But we are going to do a bunch of functionality with the skeleton. So if the orientation is bad, sorry, you're going to have to delete all that functionality, go back and fix that. Okay, if the naming is bad, that's not so bad. You can just go back and rename things. Cool. Anybody have any questions, problems, things they'd like to see demonstrated over again, etc.?
All good here.
All good.
All good.
Okay. I can show you the end result of this week. Where's Guy Full Rig? Controls. Here we go. So here is the end result that you will get. I've just hidden the body. The geometry is not doing anything, so it might as well stay hidden. But I've got the whole skeleton able to move down here. Center of the body can move around, and the arms and legs are IK. A hip swivel. The back can bend and unbend. Neck and head. Jaw. The eyes will not be very impressive right now because they're just little bones, but this is a look at controller, so the eyes will track it, and we've also got the left or right individually. Shrugging of the shoulders. Arm bend, an IK, along with a pole vector. Okay. There was an error I introduced in the video in which these fingers wouldn't follow properly, but I fix it at the very end, and I recommend that you do it. Our fingers can, with the first joint, move the entire finger, and then with a bend channel, bend all the other joints in or out. I find that to be the simplest, fastest kind of rigging setup for basic animation. Same thing for the thumb. Move the whole thing around, and then bend to curl and uncurl the thumb. You do need a little bit more functionality than that for really high performance hand animation. And then sky's the limit from there. If you guys have seen Soul, the main character plays the piano beautifully, and there was a video that we linked up to a little while ago where they really, really rig those fingers well. And then finally the foot controls the leg with a similar pole vector, and all of this stuff in the feet is the reverse footlock, which I've done for the first time ever with just locators, which I actually like a lot more. So here's ball roll and then toe roll. And we don't have a heel roll because that is being controlled just with the entire controller. So yeah, I actually like using locators more, I think, because it's a little bit more visually distinct. So there you go. You guys are going to set up all of that good stuff. Oh, and particular thing up here with rotating the wrist, you'll see it in the video, but this is distributed between these two joints using an expression. So you're going to use expressions as well, get introduced to that, which is a way to set up, it's like constraints, but much more powerful and complicated. But it's not too bad to set that up. There you go. The entire rig. Enjoy. Any last questions or anything?
Not the moment. Yeah.
All right. Then that's it for today.